Hey everyone, so as many of you who watch this channel know, we came in as a group of friends to get land so we could work and live together. Now, this is not only something that we've wanted to do for a while because we love the idea of a tight-knit community, but also because, let's be real, it's way more affordable. We figured that we could get a larger slice of heaven if we could just pool our resources. And quite frankly, land is just so out of reach for the younger generation now that we just didn't see many other viable options if we were to be homeowners. Now, we've done videos about this in the past, but we still get quite a few emails and comments about how it all works. So I thought I'd dedicate another video to help you think through whether buying land as a group makes sense for you. So the first thing that I would say is, do you have a group of people, whether they are family or friends, that would be mutually interested in something like this? Because if you don't, then it's really going to be monumentally harder to try to pull something like this off. Now, I can imagine that you can do this with strangers, and people have, but if you don't have that longer term understanding and mutualism and trust that is often gained through love and time and friendship or kinship, then it's just more likely going to break or fracture over time. And that brings me to point number 2, which is, can you see yourself married to these people over time? And of course, when I say married, it doesn't mean literally walking down the aisle. It could mean walking down the aisle, but it doesn't mean, literally walking down the aisle. But it does mean some type of contractual lifelong agreement with those folks. And if that's the case, does that group of people share your vision for a community? And I'm not talking about the overall vision. That is important, of course. They have to have the overall vision in mind, but also some of the finer details. So I'll give you a tangible example from us. Those of us who started Flock have a keen sense for design and craftsmanship. We really appreciate the finer details, and we'd rather put in the extra effort and time doing something well and right and beautiful and something that we could be really proud of, rather than just throwing any old thing together. And that's super important to us. And we shared that point with one another to make sure that we were all on the same page in the beginning. So if there are things like that that you deem really important, then by all means, those are things that you need to sit down, discuss, write down, and agree upon. So the next on my list of things to consider is, can you all agree on where you'd like to live? Now, if one of you wants to live on the West Coast, and another one wants to live on the East Coast, and another wants to be in the burbs, and another one wants to be in the middle of the continent, well, that's obviously not going to work. So establishing where you'd like to be and what aspects are regionally important to you will help you see whether you're still on the same page. So for instance, if one or all of you within the group are going to decide to have children in the future, then you may want to be around an area that has a good school district. Or if you're concerned about food security, then you may want to look into an area that has a vibrant and thriving local food production. And honestly, if you don't discuss those things now, chances are when you get a little older and somebody wants to have kids and there's no school district, that group of people may have to move out. So that's why those things are important to discuss in the beginning. And also, before we get too far down the road, you have to have the hard conversation of what amount of money and resources you all can bring to the table, assuming you don't have access to land or property already. Now, I realize that this may be a real tough conversation to have, but honestly, if you can't have an open, honest, and above board conversation about this now, then chances are you're not going to get much farther down the road on making your dreams become reality. And this is where things can get a bit more complicated. It doesn't need to get complicated, but it can be a bit more complicated because as you're starting to talk about putting money on the table, you need to simultaneously be thinking about, like, one, how you would structure the relationship with one another, and then two, whether that structure is even like recognized in your state or country that you live in. So for instance, in some cases, if you can't pay all the money up front for some of the land and you're hoping to get a mortgage, a bank will usually not dole out a mortgage to a bunch of unrelated individuals. But if you're thinking of structuring what you're doing as a business, for instance, then maybe you could get a commercial mortgage or even a loan. And I honestly won't get into all the different ways that you could structure your arrangement because we not only discussed that in a couple videos, even one with a lawyer here already, but it also just really depends on where you are in the world and what your area legally allows. So I would just recommend finding somebody who has some legal advice in your area to be able to guide you through that. So going back to a real life example, as a group, we were all able to put in equal amounts at the beginning. So that made it a little easier when it came to structuring between us. But I will say, I had to personally borrow part of my portion in order to become equal with my partners. But then that puts the onus more on me paying back someone else, and then, in trade of having more equal footing with my partners here. However, that may not be the case for other folks who are thinking about this kind of arrangement. So if that's the case, then you're going to need to think about creatively how to structure your relationship so that it's fair for all the parties who are involved. And honestly, it's like really challenging for me to sit here and think about all the possibilities and permutations. But this is where I can say that there's no right or wrong way. You have to have that conversation on what you, as a group, feels what's right. So for instance, maybe like out of a group of 4 people, 2 people could put in 80% of the money, and then the other 2 can only put in 20% of the money. Then that group of people have to come together and say, well, hey, how can we arrange this so it's fair? Does one group get 80% of the land? Do the people who can only put in 20% of the money begin to pay off their debt to the other group over time with interest, so that other 80% kind of acts a little bit more like a bank? Or does the 20% plan on working the land more? And if so, how would you value that group's time and effort? These are all really valuable questions to ask because, like, chances are your group will not continue to be even Stevens over time. Just like our crew, some people may want to put in more investment, whether that be in time or money or other resources or in-kind donations. And as like a group, you have to determine how that should be valued. So I could give you another tangible example. Like early on, we determined that we would value someone's work here at Flock. But what value do you put on someone's effort? So originally, we agreed on this like blanket statement of like, if you're working on something at Flock that adds value to the land, so say landscaping or renovating or maintenance or anything like that, then it's basically $20 an hour, flat. Like it didn't matter what you're doing, it's $20 an hour. Well, as we started to work here and we realized that some of us were able to do more work here than others, and we started to value work differently, and I would say more realistically, we started to say, okay, well, if we hired a plumber, then that would be more like $100 an hour. And if we hired a contractor or a landscaper, that may be somewhere like $35 to $45 an hour. Or if we hired somebody to like mow our field, then that would be more like $20 or $25 an hour. So we would see, based on our skill set, what hourly rate we should be given based on what we are doing, basically what work we are doing on the land. Because if we had somebody who was in place of us, if we had to hire somebody out, then actually that saves our group money because we're doing the work ourselves. As such, we could then value our work appropriately, and then you could decide as a group how you would want to honor that. So for example, if one of you came up short on some of those funds up front, your work can be used to pay off towards your debts, or if you structured your collective as a business, then maybe the money you're saving the company can be converted and honored as shares within the company. Or maybe the company pays you outright for your work if the company is solvent. Whatever the case, you have to make sure that you all agree to the arrangements and that everyone is putting in valuable work and time, and that you record and track what you do so that you can back up whatever you're doing, if that ever comes into question, for whatever reason. So it's just always good to kind of track and trace what you're doing. So come up with some type of system for doing that. Now, I understand that some of us may be unaccustomed to putting a value on our time or skills, but I would suggest that it's actually an easy way to help wrap your head around something that otherwise could feel really intangible. For instance, I think it's harder to be hey man, I'm cool with you working the land, and I'll continue to be doing my lawyer gig off the land, and then we'll just call that even. But my question is, if someone is a lawyer and is making, let's say $150 an hour, and then putting in half of their income, so that's $75 an hour of cash into the collective, and then another partner who hasn't put in any money is working the land but is gardening, and let's say that's valued at $45 an hour. And I'm not going to get into the moral or ethical debate as to why one is valued one way or the other. I'm just merely stating something that is more aligned with reality. But going back to that statement, the gardener is essentially coming up short $30 an hour, dollar for dollar. So I bring these scenarios up not to really split hairs or pit one imaginary partner against another, but to merely set up realistic situations that can help you think through how you would deal with this as a group of thoughtful people. And while we're on this topic of imagining these different scenarios, you will want to begin to think about what happens if, or what happens when scenarios. What happens if one of you wants to leave? What happens if one of you gets married and divorces? And since over 50% of people who get married divorce, then you may want to switch it to what happens when one of you gets a divorce? What happens when one of you dies? What happens if one of you goes bankrupt? I mean, you could really go down some dark avenues with these if and when statements, but it's really worth the time because it gets you to a place where you can answer these hard questions and at least create a blueprint on what you do in those situations. Now, we've had folks reach out to us here with their very specific situations with their partners and them asking us questions on what we would do in their situations. And quite frankly, none of us here are prepared to resolve other people's personal situations. Your life and your decisions are going to be vastly different from ours. So you have to be prepared to work through those situations and make those decisions yourself. So once your group is aligned and are still on the same page with investment and time and all that good stuff, you're going to want to put everything in writing. Even if you are family, and probably more so if you are family, it's best to put things in writing because by this time there will have been a lot of things that you discussed and you worked through, and memories are selective. So that's why it's important to have everything in writing and signed off by all parties involved. Now, I took the laborious effort in our group to draw up all the documents between ourselves. And then we found a lawyer to help us look over those documents and then revise them and make suggestions where she thought they needed revisions. And that helped us save money for sure, because that $150 per hour lawyer rate that I just threw out earlier, that's a real life rate right there. So it does save money. But I would stress not to overcomplicate this. Thinking you need to put everything into legalese, because that's just not the case. don't overcomplicate it for yourself. It's better if you just like bullet point out and write in complete sentences in plain speak what you're agreeing to. Now, I know I'm outlining all this stuff like really matter-of-factly, but the reality is all of this stuff takes a ton of conversation and time and negotiation. But you'll thank yourself for putting in the hard work up front to pull the group together. And by actually doing that, you begin answering all of your own questions and to, whether this is actually going to even work or not. So it's better to put that work up front and figure that stuff out, because you don't want to be 2 years into it, not having gone through all of those hard questions, and then find out like you walk down the aisle with the wrong folks. You know what I mean? So don't do that. Anyway, there's probably more that we could touch base on in regards to this matter, but I trust this is a good starting point for figuring out whether going in on land together as a group is right for you, and if it is, how you might want to actually go about it. Now, I don't think that there's a lot of information out there on the web, and definitely not on YouTube, so I hope this is a good place to start for you guys. All right, everyone, I'm signing off for today, but we'll be back soon enough with more videos. Bye. Thanks for watching our journey here at the homestead at Flock and in the Finger Lakes of New York. 10% of our Google AdSense proceeds are being reinvested back into the community here, so your viewership and support truly makes a difference. We'll see you in the next video.